All right, let's dive into a really big idea from the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. What if you could fundamentally change your life, maybe even your health, just by changing how you think? We're going to break down exactly how that might be possible.
So let's just start with a really direct question, one that gets right to the heart of all this. Is it possible that the way you think, day in and day out, could actually be the root cause of your physical problems? The work we're talking about today argues that for a lot of us, the answer is a big, resounding yes.
To really get this, let's talk about a story from the book, the story of Anna. After a truly devastating personal tragedy, her health just completely fell apart. And here's the critical piece. Her body was physically expressing the emotional pain she kept reliving in her mind over and over and over again.
And that leads us right into our first big concept. The past is your prison. We're going to unpack the biology here and see how the stress response can literally trap us, forcing us to relive yesterday's trauma today. You know, our body's emergency system, that fight or flight response, it's designed for short bursts of danger. A threat appears, it floods you with stress chemicals, and all your energy gets diverted from long-term projects like growth and repair to pure immediate survival. The problem is, for so many of us, that emergency mode never, ever shuts off. And this is the absolute kicker. Your body literally cannot tell the difference between a real-life event and the memory of that event. So every single time Anna replayed her trauma in her mind, her body pumped out the exact same cocktail of stress chemicals as if it were happening all over again. She essentially became addicted to the very thoughts that were making her sick.
Okay, so how does an addiction like that actually work? Well, it's a self-fueling cycle that Dispenza calls the thought-feeling loop. And this loop, as we're about to see, is what ends up defining not just our problems, but our entire personality. It all kicks off in the brain. When you have a thought, any thought, it sets off a chain of biochemical reactions. Your brain releases specific chemical signals that go zipping throughout your body. So your thoughts, which seem like they're just nothing, they literally become physical matter. And then what happens? Well, those chemical signals arrive at their destination, your body, and your body registers them as a feeling. So if you think a worried thought, your brain sends out worry chemicals that make your body feel worried. Your thoughts are quite literally creating your feelings from moment to moment. And boom, that's how the loop gets closed. Once your body feels that worry, it sends a message back to the brain saying, hey, I'm feeling worried, which then makes you think more worried thoughts, which creates more worried feelings, and around we go. This cycle becomes what's called your state of being, and it hardwires your brain and conditions your body to be nothing more than a living record of your past. So if we're biologically trapped by our past, how in the world do we get out? Well, the escape route, according to this work, involves a concept pulled from quantum physics, something called the quantum field.
Okay, so what is this field? The way Dispenza describes it, it's like an invisible web of pure potential, a field of energy and information that connects absolutely everything. And it doesn't play by our normal rules. It exists beyond our physical senses, beyond our normal experience of time. It's a place you can really only access in the present moment.
Now here's the really mind-bending part. The idea is that within this field, every possible future you can imagine, a future where you're healthy, where you're wealthy, where you're happy, all of those futures already exist as an energetic potential, just waiting for you to tune into them. All right, so this field of infinite possibilities is out there. That's cool. But how do we actually tap into it to create a different reality for ourselves? Well, it comes down to a very specific two-part formula. The formula needs two key ingredients. First up is a clear intention. That's your thought. Think of this as the electrical signal you send out into the field, telling it exactly what you want to create. But a thought by itself is not enough. You have to combine it with an elevated emotion. This creates a magnetic charge that actually draws that new reality to you. So what's an elevated emotion? You know, things like joy, love, inspiration. But Dispenza really zeroes in on gratitude as the most powerful one of all. And why gratitude? Because when you feel truly grateful for something, you're sending an emotional signal to your body that your desired future has already happened. You're living in it now. Now, I know this might sound a little abstract, but there are actual scientific studies that show the mind's incredible power over the body. Get this. In one study, people who only imagined playing the piano developed the same new brain circuits as the people who physically practiced. In another, participants increased their bicep strength by over 13% just by thinking about flexing. The takeaway is undeniable. Your mind has a direct, measurable impact on your physical body. And this is where it all comes together. When you manage to combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion, you're doing more than just wishing for a new future. You are biologically, chemically, and neurologically becoming it. This is the science of epigenetics. The idea here is that your genes don't control your destiny, your environment does. And by changing your internal environment, your emotional state, you're sending brand new chemical signals to your DNA. You can literally activate genes for health and deactivate genes for disease. So the transformation is total. You shift from having a brain that's just a dusty old record of the past to a brain that's a dynamic map to the future. Your body goes from being conditioned to old, familiar emotions to being conditioned to a brand new mind. It's the ultimate shift from being a victim of your past to becoming the architect of your future. So the question this work leaves us with is a really powerful one. But combining a clear vision of what you want with the genuine feeling of what it will be like when you have it, you have the formula to become supernatural. So what future are you going to start creating today?